Hey guys, the Art of Justice here, and we are back for another Back to Basics video, and today our medium of choice is gonna be acrylic. So, acrylic is probably one of my main medium, so unlike the watercolor video where I was mostly experimenting and telling you what I found worked and what happened to me while I was using it and different things that I do, I'm way more knowledgeable about acrylics, and this video will probably be a lot more helpful for any of you trying to break into acrylics. So the first eye, once again, the pictures that I'm using in this one are the same as that I've used in the past previous two videos. So if you haven't seen those, go check them out, and if you want to see more of those pictures, be sure to check that out, because like even on the fourth video that's coming later this week, you literally will not see the photos. So if you want to see these reference photos, you're gonna want to see those two videos. So other than that, let's get straight in it. I'm almost finished with this eye, but luckily I'm just gonna talk about the parts here and focus on basically what most eyes have in common. But I will say that all that information will be shared through the process of this video and the other references, but what I will focus on this one is the fact that right here, when I'm doing the outer part of the eye, there are usually a reflected color in it, and with this one in particular, I added too much pigment, so you're gonna see me keep going in and going in with that white. Now, I will say that I see it's kind of like 50-50. Sometimes it's blue hued and other times it's more like grayish or maybe even kind of pinkish hued. But the white part of your eye is not actually white. It's never actually a pure white. So with this one and the next couple ones, it's going to be very bluish, but that's not for everyone. I just wanted to put that out there. Also, with the first reference, I don't know what was going on with the eyelashes. It seems like the more I paint this, the more I do it, the worse it gets. So we're just gonna watch me fail and take an extra L. So onto this next one, we're gonna focus on this iris. So I always start off with a dark rim iris. That's definitely a commonality that most eyes have, is that dark iris and that shadow at the top. So now I'm going in with the main color of that eye, and you're gonna see me feather, and especially on this one I'm gonna focus on feathering a lot. The colors don't really blend in the eye, they're more like streaked into each other, so you're really gonna see me pull into that and try to create that technique and that look. Here, once again, I'm adding in that blue color, and once again, I'm going to put a little bit too much blue. So we're going to want to really focus on that white and try to whiten it back up. I will say I would rather add color though than have it looking white and plain. So this is perfectly fine, but everyone has a different preference. Now when it comes to reflections on the eye, I'm just going to throw this in here. Every eye is different. Reflections are always different. That's something that's always going to be a variable whenever you paint an eye. You're going to see that no eye in this video has the same reflection. Even the left and the right eye, they're always different. They're either more opaque than the last one, they're more translucent, they're different shapes. They're different types, like the first and the second one. Here you can see the first one is more like a line. The second one is more like a glob, and it's on both sides of the pupil. So just keep that in mind when you're painting an eye. I will say when I do it digitally and I'm going more, I'm not really using reference photos as much, I do try to I keep it simple and I do circles. but we'll get more into that in the digital video. So here we are moving on to the third reference photo, and once again doing that dark rim in that middle. This one I'm probably not going to feather as much just because the second one, unlike the second one, this one's more smooth, more pure without that, there's not much of that effect going on. And you see here, once again, the reflection is different. But what I do in this one is add white into that main part. And this helps with reflections as well. And it does also create sort of that streaky effect, just not as much. It has more to do with how the light reflects in your iris. And I'm even blending this in, so it's really not creating, it's not, the purpose of me adding the white wasn't to get that streaky effect, it was to get the color. I wasn't looking for texture here, I was looking for color and the amount of gradient in the eye. I will say though that although I am getting more detailed in this video than the watercolor, I do not consider myself a hyper-realistic painter. So if you're looking for that, this is not the video, but I am just trying to get to the basics. This is my style. I want to put that out there as well. So if this isn't how you like to paint, if you want more details, if you want it simpler, do you. If you watch Shameless Maya, you know she's always telling you, do you, boo. So you gotta do that sometimes. I'm just giving my example, my tips, and I'm honestly not even focusing more on painting techniques here. I'm focusing on the eye itself. What do most eyes have in common to make it easier for when you break it down and you're trying to paint or draw or however you do your art. When you're doing eyes, how are you going to do it, how to do it with or without a reference, and how to make it easier for yourself. Another thing I will say for acrylics is you want to work fast because they dry so quickly, and if you want blending to happen, you're going to want to put your colors back on. You want to mix your colors before you even start painting, or at least have a couple of colors, so when you actually start painting, you're not like, okay, what color do I need next? Because that's going to really hinder your progress. And that's also why I like to have, sometimes I like to have two brushes in hand so I can switch between the two colors really quickly. Now for the next one, I'm going to do the left and right eye. And this is going to be one of those examples where the color reflected in the rest of the eye isn't going to be so much blue. It's going to be more grayish, even a little bit more warm. So once again, if you haven't watched those other videos, which you really should, because it does give you, I talk a lot about the photos themselves and some problems I ran into just using these reference photos. This one in particular is not as close up as the first three, and therefore I had a little bit of a problem finding colors and making it look the way it should. So this one and the next one as well, especially the last one, are definitely kind of more of a challenge, but I wanted these in the video to show you the differences in color first off, and these two in particular had different eye shapes. So I actually forgot to do the whites in the fourth reference, but I promise you that I will be going back in there once I finish the fifth one. So don't even worry about that. Just like in the watercolor, I do have a towel or tissue on hand at all times, just because sometimes when you're changing brushes, you're rinsing them, they might have a little more water than you need, and so it's always good to have something nearby to quickly get that in control. Here I am fixing that problem. So you can see that it's much more gray. It's even got a little bit of a warm tone added to it. And I'm just making that pink inner corner. I didn't talk much about the inner corner because at different angles, it's so small that sometimes, like in a lot of these, in a couple of these, you can't even see it, and I didn't paint it because at different angles it tends to disappear a little bit. So if you wanted more in there, more about that specific part, I would definitely search out for different videos. But other than that, look out for that digital video coming out soon. It'll be coming out the end of the week. If you like this video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.